Danielle. I'm back with my final video on what happens in module or month 4, the final month of the Cohort Mentorship Program. And in this one, we go into formal goal setting. And as a reminder, in month 1, it's introduction and informal goal setting. Month 2 is on how to effectively manage your time. Month 3 is healthily balancing your work-life schedules. And month 4 is formal goal setting. So the intent of this module is really trying to set them up for what they're going to do once they leave the cohort mentorship program, trying to really give them set, firm, realistic goals that they can, have and look at after they leave. So for the first meeting of the 4th month, their warm up is called The Unexpected. And so each mentee comes to this first meeting of the last month, and they were asked before this, they're asked to share, but they were asked to do something unexpected between the last mentoring session and this one. And so they're asked to kind of share what it was that they chose to do and why. And as usual, I give them the caveat of it should be appropriate and not make people feel uncomfortable and et cetera, et cetera. So that's the warm up. And it's actually the last really kind of structured warm up, I should say. The discussion for this one, mentees were asked to revisit their very first worksheet, where I don't know if you remember, but in their first worksheet, they're asked to reflect on, or then their first worksheet, they're asked to kind of think about what are 3 to 5 kind of ultimate takeaways that I want from this program, right? So in this case, by the time they get to month 4 in this first meeting, they're asked to reflect on those initial 3 to 5 ultimate takeaways. And then think about also the goals they want to continue working on after they complete the cohort mentorship program. So your job in this case, in this first meeting of the 4th month, is to facilitate a discussion, obviously based on what they wrote and reflected on. And has any of the mentorship program helped to inform the goals they want to focus on when the program ends? So really trying to think about helping to shape their goals in a realistic way that will be meaningful to them and intentional for them when they leave the program, so that when they leave, they have something that actually can work for them. Because 4 months, when it comes down to it, is not a really long time, and twice a month seems like a lot. But at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do in 8 meetings, especially when it's a group mentoring setting. So obviously, wrap up and post meeting work is always the same. So to move on to the final COM, or the final meeting agenda, which is the 4th month and the 2nd meeting, and this is should be taking place toward the end of May. Warm up, I have none. So I tell you, feel free to use the warm up time to engage your mentees in casual conversation about whatever you feel is appropriate. And I said in their worksheet for this session, they were able, I said, don't feel like you have to write anything, but if they wanted to jot down questions or things they wanted to discuss, they were able to. I did give them that space if they wanted to, but they didn't have to. So this one is kind of like last meeting, it's really between you and your mentees at this point. For this particular meeting, mentees were asked to fill in a SMART goals chart for at least one goals, and I'm going to show you what that looks like because I have it open. So I created the SMART goals worksheet, And just as a side note, when you download this, I do have two logos up here, two JPEGs. When you download it, the logos may get a little wonky. So you may have to manually fix that. I do apologize for that. So hopefully it won't cause you any problems. So the SMART Goals worksheet, essentially I just explain here what the SMART goals are, and then I go through each of the letters, the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, giving questions for each of them. And then there is a fill-in chart for the mentees to fill in. So this is what they're doing for the very last meeting. And they're asked to fill this in for at least one goal that they have and that they want to discuss at the final mentoring session. And I asked them to think of the formal SMART goals as a promise or contract with themselves of objectives that they want to take with them and continue working toward after they complete the cohort mentorship program. And then, so they fill this in. So that's part of that, hopefully at this point they've already gone through a variety of goal setting, and then I imagine in a lot of the conversations that you'll have had with your mentees up until this point, a lot of it covers goal setting. So at this point, I'm hoping they'll have they'll be more attuned to the intentionality that comes with goal setting in the terms of it being realistic and both short-term and long-term. So that's the SMART Goals worksheet. So for your discussion, right, it's really just about talking about that. It's really about what are you going to do when you leave the program. So facilitating a discussion with your mentees about the experience of filling out this worksheet, the SMART goals, thinking about carrying on, what goal did they choose? And I can't believe I wrote chose there. How do they plan on continuing toward achieving this goal after the program ends? So that's the purpose of the formal goal setting, is helping to set the mentees up for success, at least with one goal for when they leave the cohort mentorship program. And the wrap-up and the post-meeting work look just a little bit different in this final session because it's the final session. So obviously wrap-up is different because, there's not another warm-up or discussion to go over. You don't have to schedule another meeting. And post-meeting work looks a little different because there's nothing to send to your mentees anymore. So those look just a little bit different. So that's the final month of the cohort mentorship program in terms of formal goal setting. So hopefully these 4 videos that kind of address the various kind of pedagogical and reflective purposes of each month and the themes of each month have been helpful in some way to help you better understand what will be happening each month. But yeah, that's all I have for now.